Hello students, Joint Stock Company Lesson 2. In today's class, let us discuss about registration of companies, capital subscription and commencement of business, preparation of important documents, memorandum of association, clauses of memorandum of association, articles of association and its contents, prospectus and its contents, red herring prospectus and statement in lieu of prospectus. Now let us discuss about registration of companies. In registration of companies, we have steps, and these are undertaken by the promoters of the company while registering the company. Nearly we have 19 steps. One by one, let us discuss. First step, it involves deciding the type of company. The promoter has to decide which type of company he wants to register. As per the Companies Act 2013, both public as well as private company can be registered. Even a one-person company can be registered, and it has to be registered as a private company. Any company may be registered as a company limited by shares, limited by guarantee, with or without share capital. A company may even get registered with unlimited liability. The promoter has to decide the type of company he wants to register. If the promoter wants to register an one-person company, he should make sure that he subscribes to the memorandum as a citizen of India, resident in India, and is not a member of any other one-person company. Second step involves deciding the location of registered office. The promoter has to decide the location of a registered office of the company, at least the state where the registered office is located must be decided. In case the promoter is unable to decide the exact place of the registered office. This decision is essential to recognize the registrar of the companies to whom the application for registration of the company is to be given. Once the state is decided, the promoter has to decide the company address for correspondence. Third step focuses on acquiring director's identification number from central government. It is unique and permanent number. Director's identification number is unique and permanent number given by central government in response to the application submitted by the prospective directors. The central government allot director's identification number before 1 month from the date on which application is submitted. Fourth step is related to acquiring digital signature. Digital signature is an electronic signature made through electronic means. In order to get company registered, the companies are required to e-file documents with digital signature, as manually signing e-file documents is not possible. Promoters, authorized individuals like chartered accountants, company secretaries, solicitor generals, etc., are required to acquire digital signatures. Fifth one, selecting and reserving a company name. A proper name has to be selected by the promoter for his intended company and get that name reserved. He should apply for reservation of company name in the form of INC1 with the specified fee to the registrar. Application must be given to the registrar of the state in which the registered office of the intended company is to be located. Sixth step, drafting a memorandum. In Schedule 1 of the Companies Act 2013, Table A, B, C, D and E comprises formats of a memorandum for different types of companies. By taking into consideration these tables, promoter of the company along with his solicitor, company secretary and so on draft the memorandum of a company. The memorandum of an one-person company should contain the name of the nominee of the member to the memorandum with his prior permission in written form. Seventh step, drafting articles. The Articles of Association is another essential document of the company which includes regulations for internal management of a company. The articles may include prescribed matters and also additional matters. Tables F, G, H, I and J of Schedule 1 contains formats of articles for various types of public companies. A promoter can draft the article by choosing the suitable format for his intended company. Eighth step involves inspecting the drafts. Memorandum and articles drafted by the promoter must be inspected by the registrar to prevent mistakes and delays in the registration of the proposed company. Ninth step, it is related to the printing of the memorandum and articles. The memorandum and articles must be printed as per the specification given in the Act. 10th involves stamping of the documents. Memorandum and articles must be stamped as per the stamp laws applicable to the respective document. Step 11, dating of the document. Date should be specified on memorandum and articles. After the stamping date may be chosen for dating the documents. Obtaining signature of the subscriber. There should be minimum 7 subscribers in the public company, 2 subscribers in the private company and 1 subscriber in one-person company. Each and every subscriber must sign the memorandum. Every subscriber must give his address, description and occupation in the existence of minimum 1 witness. The witness should also give his signature and address and description of occupation like subscriber. A subscriber may sign the memorandum personally or may allow an agent to sign on behalf of him. 13th step, getting the consent of the nominee in case of an OPC. In order to include the name of the nominee of the subscriber in the memorandum, in case of one-person company, prior consent has to be acquired from the nominee written in form number INC3. 14th step, acquiring declaration as to compliance with legal requirements. A declaration in form number INC8 should be acquired by the promoter of the company. 15th step is related to getting affidavit from subscribers and persons named as first directors. A promoter must also acquire an affidavit in form number INC9 from every subscriber to memorandum and from individuals who are named as the first directors in the Articles of Association. 16th, step, acquiring particulars of subscribers, directors, etc., particulars of every subscriber to the memorandum, particulars of individuals stated as first directors in the articles of the company, particulars of individuals stated in the articles as first directors of the company in other firms or corporate bodies. Step 17. Get consent of the first directors. The promoter must get the written consent of the individual who wants to act as first directors of the company. Consent must be obtained in a prescribed manner. 18th step. Getting approval of the sectoral regulators. At times a company aims to possess objects which requires registration or approval of sectoral regulators like RBI and SEBI. In such situation, promoter has to get approval from the sectoral regulators. And the last and final step, 19, drafting contracts. If the promoter intends to include other contracts in the terms of incorporation of the company, he will draft such contracts. These contracts contain all the preliminary contracts. So that is related to the registration of the firm. Now let us focus on the capital subscription and commencement of business. A public limited company requires a share capital for performing business operations. For this purpose, they should obtain a minimum subscription and should get a certificate of commencement of business. The steps involved with respect to capital subscription are as follows. First one is approval of SEBI. A company should obtain the approval of SEBI before issuing the prospectus and must ensure that their prospectus is prepared as per the guidelines relating to the minimum subscription of shares proposed by SEBI. A prospectus should include the required particulars framed by SEBI for the issue of shares, debentures. Guidelines of SEBI helps in protecting the interest of both investors as well as owners. Step 2, with respect to capital subscription, filing of prospectus. In second step, a copy of prospectus or statement in lieu of prospectus is submitted to registrar of companies. Third step, appointment of brokers. In third step, a meeting with board of directors is conducted wherein the appointment of brokers, bankers, secretaries, auditors, so on are decided. Even their qualifications are decided. Underwriting. In the fourth step, the underwriters are appointed. Agreement is made with them for the issue of capital. Agreement clearly outlines the amount underwritten by them, underwriting commission, entitled to earn for a share subscription. In the fifth step, it is related to prospectus printing. Prospectus is printed and issued to public, and a copy of prospectus or statement in lieu of prospectus is submitted to the registrar of the companies. Minimum subscription. In the sixth step, we focus on subscription. A company issues prospectus, invites the public to buy its share, but in this step they cannot make the allotment of shares till they receive minimum subscription. Minimum subscription refers to the minimum amount required to be received from the sale of share. Applying to stock exchange. A company should be listed in any of the stock exchanges to be able to trade its securities. Stock exchanges verify the financial status of the company, grant permission to get itself listed in the stock exchange. In case if the company does not obtain permission within 10 weeks from the date of closing of subscription list, allotment becomes invalid. Company should return money to the applicants within 8 days. Eighth step, share allotment. In this step, shares are allotted to the respective shareholders. List consists of details regarding allotment of shares, names of shareholders, address, total number of shares allotted to them, return of allotment consisting the details of shares allotted to every shareholder is submitted to the registrar of the company. Now let us discuss about the commencement of business. Commencement of business means starting to run a business, carrying out business activities, exercising the borrowing power of the business. According to Section 11 of Companies Act 2013, date of incorporation cannot be the date of commencement of business. It means any private public limited company which has a share capital cannot commence its business until it obtains the certificate of commencement of business. The certificate is given by the registrar of the companies. Without the certificate uh, to commence the business, company cannot start its business activities and exercise its borrowing power. Declaration, Section 11. Companies Act 2013 states under Section 11 that the company needs to ensure the following aspects before starting its operations and exercising the borrowing powers. Company need to file the declaration by a director with the concerned registrar indicating the effect that every subscription to the memorandum has paid the agreed shares value to be taken by him or her. On the date of making declaration, the paid up capital of public limited company should not be less than 5 lakh rupees, and for private company it should not be less than 1 lakh. As per section 12(2), company has to file a verification of its registered office with the registrar within 30 days of its incorporation. Consequences of not filing declaration. The various consequences which may occur if a company fails to file their declarations for the commencement of business. Penalty. According to section 11(2) of Companies Act 2013, company fails to file the declaration, it shall be liable for a penalty of 5,000 rupees, and every officer of the company is also liable to pay a fine of 1,000 rupees for every day during which the default continues. Removal of company name. According to section 11(3) of Companies Act 2013, if company fails to file the declaration with the registrar within 6 months from the date of incorporation, registrar of companies will remove the name of the company by considering that the company is not carrying any business operations. Obtaining a certificate of commencement of business is mandatory under Companies Act 2013 because it will be proof that company has started its business operations by submitting all the declaration as mentioned in the Act. Steps involved in obtaining certificate of commencement. Step 1. Filing E-Form 20, that is declaration. Step 2. Attaching the statement in the prospectus of company and filing it with the registrar. Step 3. Verification of all documents. Step 4. Obtaining certificate of commencement of business. At the time of registration, following documents are to be submitted: identify and address proof, digital signature certificate, certificate of registration issued by Reserve Bank of India only in case of non-banking financial companies, consent letter from all directors, all documents with the prescribed fees. Now let us discuss about various documents to be filed at various stages of incorporation of a joint stock company. The promoters should file the documents with the registrar of company: memorandum of association, articles of association, notice, agreements, list of directors, written consent of directors, statutory declaration. Memorandum of association. It is also called as the charter or constitution of the company. It outlines the objects of the company and develops its relationship with the others. The contents of memorandum of association are name of the company, capital requirements, objectives, liability, subscription, association clauses of the company. Articles of association. It is also called the doctrine or internal management. It contains the rules, regulations of company management and must be signed by the subscriber to the memorandum. The public company should follow Table A in Schedule 1 of Companies Act if it fails to file articles of association. Notice. The company should file a notice with regards to the address of the registered office within 1 month of incorporation. It can also be filed on the date of commencement of business, whichever happens earlier. Agreements. A company should include a copy of agreements which they have entered into with any individual, firm or company. List of directors. The company should create a list of directors with their names, addresses and other details and submit to the registrar of companies. Written consent of directors. The company director should give a written consent that they do not have any objection to work as directors of the company and should subscribe for the qualification shares. Statutory declaration. The company should have statutory declaration which is signed by directors, manager of company or by an advocate of Supreme Court or chartered accountant. This declaration should state that all provisions of the Companies Act regarding the incorporation are met. Now let us study about the Memorandum of Association and the various clauses related to it. Memorandum of Association. According to Section 256 of the Companies Act 2013, memorandum means Memorandum of Association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company law or of this Act. Memorandum of Association is one of the important documents to be filed with the registrar of companies at the time of incorporation of the company. Memorandum is an extremely important document in relation to the affairs of the company. In simple words, it is a document which sets out the constitution of the company and is the foundation on which the structure of the company is based. It contains the fundamental conditions upon which alone the company is incorporated. Memorandum of Association is a public document. It is open to all the investors for studying and investing. It also provides detailed information to the shareholder, how their money will be utilized by the company and the extent of their liability, limited by shares or limited by guarantee. Contents of Memorandum of Association. We have different contents. We have around 6 contents or 6 clauses. First one is name clause, second one is registered office clause, third one is objects clause, liability clause, capital and association or subscription clause. Name clause. A company being a legal person must have a name to establish its identity. A company shall not be registered by a name which in the opinion of central government is undesirable and in particular which is identical with or which resembles the name of an existing company. A company cannot adopt a name which violates the provisions of the emblems and names. Act prohibits the use of name and emblem of the United Nations, World Health Organization, official seal and emblems of central government, state government, Indian national flag, pictorial representation of Mahatma Gandhi and the Prime Minister of India. Every public company must write the word limited after its name and every private limited must write the private limited after its name. Every company is required to publish its name outside its registered office, outside every place where it carries on business. Registered office clause. Every company shall have a registered office from the day it commences the business or from the 30th day of incorporation, whichever is earlier. All communications and notices are to be addressed to that registered office. Objects clause. The clause is the most important memorandum of association of a company because not only shows the objects for which the company is formed, but also determines the extent of the objects. It can be classified as main objects which are pursued by the company on its incorporation, objects incidental to the attainment of the main object, other objects which are not included in the above clause. Liability clause. This clause has to state the nature of liability that the members incur. Such a liability may be limited by shares or limited by guarantee. In case of limited liability by shares, the shareholders may be called upon to pay only the unpaid amount on the shares. In case of liability limited by guarantee, the shareholders may be called upon to pay the amount guaranteed. This liability clause is omitted from the Memorandum of Association of unlimited companies. Capital clause. The Memorandum of Company limited by shares must state the authorized or nominal share capital, the different kinds of shares and the nominal value of each share, company's memorandum involving a share capital must represent the amount of the share capital with which the company is going to be registered, and also the division made into shares of fixed amount. A company's capital with which it is to be registered is termed as registered, authorized or nominal capital. A company should issue the shares as per the memorandum and is not liable to issue more shares than they are actually authorized. It is liable to issue only the equity shares or preference shares which does not involve the disproportionate rights, while a private company which is not actually a subsidiary of a public company can issue the shares of any type which involves disproportionate rights. Association of a subscription clause. This clause provides that those who have agreed to subscribe to the memorandum must signify by their willingness to associate and form the company. The memorandum of association must be signed by at least 7 subscribers in case of public company and at least 2 subscribers in case of a private company. Now let us discuss about the features of a memorandum of association. It is a document which sets out the constitution of the company. It is the foundation on which the structure of the company is based. It contains the fundamental conditions upon which alone the company is incorporated. It is the charter of the company and defines its reason for existence. It lays down the area of operation of the company. It regulates the external affairs of the company in relation to outsiders. It provides the shareholders as well as the outsiders who deal with the company information regarding the permitted range of the enterprise. It shows the object of the formation of the company. It limits the area beyond which the actions of the company cannot go. Next important concept which we have to study in this lesson is about articles of association and its contents. Articles of association. According to section 2(5) of the Companies Act 2013, articles means articles of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company's law or of this act, including so far as they apply to the company. The regulations contained as the case may be in Table A to Schedule 1 of this Act. The sign of the subscribers of memorandum is essential for articles and they must be registered along with the memorandum. Generally, a public company must have its own articles of association. It does not have its own articles, then it can use Table A given in the Schedule 1 of the Act. Articles of association provide rules, regulations, bylaws for internal management of the company affairs. Articles are of secondary importance after the memorandum of association. It includes the basic conditions on which a company is incorporated. The articles are framed with an objective to perform the aims and objectives constituted by the memorandum of association. Members can make their own regulations through articles of association, which is subject to the Companies Act. A company, while constituting the articles, should ensure that the regulations which are developed are not beyond the power of the company. Coming to the contents of articles of association, we have 14 contents. The first one focuses on the share capital. Articles of association consist of the provisions regarding the authorized capital of company, the initial subscription and public offerings. It also highlights the rights of shareholders and their types, payment of commissions, etc. Lien and call on shares. The company can hold the shares of any shareholder until they pay their debt. They can also call for shares from shareholders when company wants to expand business and increase capital. In this, shareholders pay some amount initially and remaining later on. Transfer and transmission of shares. If a shareholder wants to transfer his shares to someone else, it is called share transfer. Share transmission is applicable when the shareholder is dead, married, etc. Articles of association lays down procedure for both transfer and transmission of shares. Forfeiture and surrender of shares. If the shareholder is not able to pay the call money or allotment shares, the company can forfeit their shares. The individuals can also voluntarily surrender to their shares to the company. The rules and guidelines regarding forfeiture and surrender of shares and laid down in articles of association. Transformation of shares to stock. Shares can be converted into stock according to the resolutions in a general meeting, and these should be in accordance with the articles of association. Share warrants. Share warrant, which is a bearer document related to the title of shares, can be issued by public limited company as per provisions mentioned in the articles of association. Alteration of capital. According to company's interest at any time, they can increase or decrease the capital, but rules and procedures should be laid down in the articles of association. General meetings and proceedings. The framework and provisions related to conducting meetings should be in accordance with the articles of association. Voting rights. Articles of association lays down the procedure of voting, right to vote of members and voting through poll and through proxy. Directors, the appointment, remuneration, qualifications, powers, proceedings of board of directors should be accordance with the articles of association. The same is applicable in case of manager and also secretary. Auditing and accounting, the process of auditing the accounts of companies defined in the articles of association. Capitalization of profits, when the company is in extreme profits and does not want to distribute them to shareholders, they can retain them in the form of bonus shares. Reserve and dividends, company can keep a part of profit aside, keeping in view of the unfortunate happenings in futures. Guidelines regarding distribution of dividends among shareholders is also provided in the articles of association. Winding up, articles of association lays down the procedure to liquidate the company. While liquidating, first the debts are to be cleared and then remaining amount can be shared among the shareholders of the company. Now let us focus on the differences between the articles of association and the memorandum of association. So let us take some 10 aspects and let us differentiate memorandum of association versus articles of association. First, let us focus on the definition. Memorandum of association means, according to section 256 of the Companies Act 2013, memorandum means memorandum of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company law or of this act. Articles of association means a company originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company law or of this act, including so far as they apply to the company. The regulations contained, as the case may be, in table A to schedule 1 of this act. Charter. It is considered as a charter of the company and defines the nature of its business, nationality, capital. It also outlines the company's relationship with the outside world. So always memorandum of association is related to the outside world, whereas the articles of association, it is considered as a subsidiary to the memorandum and provides regulations of the internal management. Scope. Memorandum of association has a scope which is related to the activities of the company and the aspects beyond which the company cannot move are outlined in the memorandum. In articles of association, it outlines the rules fulfilling the objectives of the company as specified in the memorandum. Importance. Memorandum of association is considered as a supreme document. Articles of association is secondary to the memorandum. Presence. Memorandum of association is essential for all the companies. A limited company by share does not require articles of association. Alteration. Memorandum of association involves strict restrictions on alteration. Few conditions of incorporation which are included in the memorandum of association cannot be changed. Articles of association. A special resolution facilitates its alteration, but only when there is no conflict between the memorandum and the Companies Act. Parties responsible for approval. Memorandum of association. Any action of the company which ultraviates the memorandum is considered and cannot be approved even by the shareholders. Articles of association. Any act which ultraviates the articles can be ratified by the shareholders. Provision. Memorandum of association cannot include any contents which are against the Companies Act 2013. Articles of association cannot include any contents which are against both the Memorandum of Association and Companies Act 2013. Relationship. Memorandum of association maintains the relationship between the company and its members. Articles of association maintains the relation between the both company and its members and among the members. Signature. Memorandum of association is sign of subscriber is must for all the articles. Articles of association, it requires sign of subscriber of memorandum and is needed to be registered with the memorandum. Now let us study about the prospectus and its contents. According to section 270 of Companies Act 2013, prospectus can be defined as any document described or issued as a prospectus and includes a red herring prospectus referring to section 32 or shelf prospectus referring to section 31, or any notice, circular, advertisement, other document inviting offer from the public for the subscription or purchase of any securities of a body corporate. In other words, prospectus can be defined as any document which is inviting offers from public for subscription of shares or debentures of a company. It is a simple invitation issued to the public for depositing money with the company or to take shares or debentures of the company. Prospectus can be in the form of a document, notice, circular, advertisement, any other thing in writing. A prospectus must contain an invitation offering to the public. It must be issued on behalf of the company. It must involve an invitation of subscribe or purchase. It must involve an invitation of shares or debentures. Thus, a prospectus is not an offer, an invitation to make an offer. Contents of prospectus. We have 9 contents: general information, capital structure of the company, terms of the present issue, particulars of the issue, company, particulars in regard of the company, outstanding litigation pertaining to matters, management perception of risk factors, report prepared by the auditors. General information of the company is like the name, address, registered office, regional stock exchange, other stock exchange where application is made for listing of present issue, rating from CRISIL or any other rating agency. Capital structure. Capital structure of the company includes authorized issue, subscribed and paid up capital, size of present issue, giving separate reservations for preferential allotment to promoters and others. Terms of the present issue. Terms of the present issue comprises of terms of payments, rights of instrument holders, availability of forms, prospectus and mode of payment. Particulars of the issue. The particulars of issue include objects, project cost, and means of financing, company, management and project, information related to history, main objects and present business of the company, subsidiary of the company and promoters. Particulars in regard to the company and other listed companies under the same management. Outstanding litigation pertaining to matters likely to affect operation and finance of the company, including tax liabilities, etc. Management perception of risk factors, sensitivity to foreign exchange rate fluctuations, difficulty in availability of raw material or in marketing of products, cost or time overrun, etc. Report prepared by the auditors. A report about the profit and loss of the firm must be prepared by the auditors. Now let us discuss about the features of prospectus. It is a document issued as invitation to public. It invites people to subscribe for the ownership shares of the company. It contains all information of company and capital structure. It is the method of procuring funds. It includes any advertisement, circular or notice which inviting public deposits. It must be in writing. Oral invitation to subscribe for shares or debentures of a company or deposits is not a prospectus. Now let us know about the legal requirements of prospectus. Dating of prospectus. According to section 26 of Companies Act 2013, prospectus issued by company must be properly dated, the date of publication of prospectus. Second, registration of prospectus, section 27. According to section 27 of Companies Act 2013, the registration of prospectus involve following points: nature, time, signature, date of issue, contents. By nature of a prospectus cannot be issued by the company unless it is delivered to the registrar for registration. Before the publication of prospectus, registration of prospectus should be completed. Signature, the signature of all directors or proposed directors or agents whose names are mentioned in the prospectus is must. Date of issue, the first appearance of prospectus in a newspaper advertisement would be the issue date of prospectus. Contents, copy of prospectus has been delivered to the registrar of companies for registration. Specified documents are attached with the copy. Endorsement indicating the consent of experts has been obtained. Enclosures, consent of the expert to issue a prospectus. Copy of contracts used to appoint or fix remuneration of managing director or manager. Written statement of auditor stating the changes made in financial statements, including reasons. Consent of every person, including company's auditor, legal advisor, attorneys, solicitor, banker, and broker. Final registration. After meeting all the requirements, prospectus must be issued within 90 days of its registration. If the company issued the prospectus without registration, then the company as well as every person involved in such activity will be liable to pay penalty of 50,000 rupees. Now, let us study about the shelf prospectus, red herring prospectus, statement in lieu of prospectus. Shelf prospectus, section 31, red herring prospectus, section 32, and statement in lieu of prospectus. Under the section 31 of Companies Act 2013, shelf prospectus is defined as a prospectus in which the securities or class of securities are issued for subscription in one or more than one issues over a period of time. It enables companies to raise capital from the public in more than one issue and also without issue of a new or fresh prospectus. The validity of shelf prospectus is of 1 year from the date of issue of securities. Red herring prospectus, section 32. Section 32 of Companies Act 2013 defines red herring prospectus as a prospectus which does not include complete particulars of the price of the securities included in the document. It consists of either floor price of the securities which is offered or the price band along with the range within which the bids can move or fluctuate. In case of unlisted public companies, red herring prospectus need to be filed with the registrar of companies, whereas in case of listed companies it is to be filed with the SEBI. Both type of companies need to file the prospectus at least 3 days before the date of opening of offer. Provisions regarding red herring prospectus. It is issued before issuing prospectus. It should be filed with the registrar at least 3 days before opening of the subscription. It must follow some obligations which are applicable to prospectus. It must highlight the variations in the prospectus. At the time of closing of offer, prospectus must be filed with the registrar and the SEBI. It must include information relating to the total capital raised, closing price of securities, and details not included in a red herring prospectus. Statement in lieu of prospectus is a document filed by company with the registrar of companies at least 3 days before the first allotment of shares or debenture when company issues the prospectus. When company issued the prospectus but not proceeded to allot any of its shares offered to public for subscription. According to section 69(1), company which is required to submit statement in lieu of prospectus does not comply with the requirement cannot allot the shares. In simple words, statement in lieu of prospectus can be referred to the situation where a company does not invite public to subscribe its shares but arranges to get money from private sources. It need not issue a prospectus to the public. In such a case, the promoters are required to prepare a draft prospectus which is known as a statement in lieu of prospectus as per the Company Law 2013. The filing of statement in lieu of prospectus has been dispensed. It means that the new act does not allow the submission of statement in lieu of prospectus. Contents of statement in lieu of prospectus: name of the company, nominal share capital of company, nature and description of the company's business, details of the company's proposed or appointed directors, provisions regarding remuneration and appointment of above members of company, number and amount of company shares or debentures agreed to be issued, details of vendors' property which is a company is purchased or proposed to purchase. Differences between prospectus and prospectus statement in lieu of prospectus. Definition. Prospectus is defined under section 229 of Companies Act 2013. There is no proper definition for the statement in lieu of prospectus according to Company Law 2013. Meaning, prospectus, the legal document published by the company for inviting general public to subscribe its shares or debentures, is known as prospectus. The document published by company when it is not offering its shares to debentures for public subscription, then it is known as statement in lieu of prospectus. Objective. Prospectus main objective is to encourage public subscription. Statement in lieu of prospectus main objective is to reduce public subscription. Filed by. Prospectus is filed by public listed company. Statement in lieu of prospectus is filed by public unlisted company. Invitation. Prospectus is an invitation to public for subscription. Statement in lieu of prospectus is an invitation to public for subscription, not an invitation for public. Prescribed form. There is no prescribed form to file for prospectus. There is a prescribed form to file for statement in lieu of prospectus. Uses. Prospectus is used when capital is raised from public. Statement in lieu of prospectus is used when capital is raised from known sources. Information. Prospectus consists of all details prescribed under Companies Act 2013. Statement in lieu of prospectus consists of information available in prospectus, but the information will be in brief. Minimum subscription. Prospectus is required to mention the minimum subscription. Statement in lieu of prospectus does not require to mention the minimum subscription. Thank you.